In Midland, Texas. I've got a little video I'm going to make this evening that I think you'll find really interesting. And it's really not any new information. I just shared some things I've shared before about the Hailey Dunn murder case. She's the famous missing murdered child from Colorado City, Texas. She was 13 years old, I'd contacted the Department of Justice and suggested that they look in this underground facility that's said by multiple people be near my house. And then 2 days later, her remains were found in Scurry County. And now there's more than a half dozen people documented saying that she was killed, overdosed, and buried over in Odessa. So it's really believed that she's dug up and moved as a result of that email and me contacting law enforcement. But anyway, I shared this YouTube video I have, and what this is a phone call from a Hailey Dunn blogger to another woman named Allison, and she's telling the story of where her baby daddy had confessed to her a really detailed story about how they kidnapped Hailey in an alley over in Colorado City. They took her over to Odessa and they were pimping her out, and she overdosed. It's got names in it and what she was wearing, just all kinds of details. It's real easy from anybody on the outside that listens to it knows that, yeah, this is what happened, and that's only one person, okay? But the one thing I focused on that video for purpose of this Facebook post was she said that Hailey Dunn was buried in the backyard of an Odessa cop. Well, that's a big deal, you know what I mean? And here I quoted it at the top. I said, she said the body, 13-year-old Hailey Dunn, was also at Jaxie Thompson's backyard. Jaxie Thompson was a police officer in Odessa, Texas. And I'm asking, does this explain why nobody has been arrested, even with the half dozen people documented saying that Hailey was murdered and or buried in Odessa? And so I posted that yesterday, okay? And I've got this video here. Woman says Hailey Dunn, and it's just right here at that one spot, and I'm going to play this one little bit for you here. Hopefully you can hear it.
The police are trying to start an Allison. It's where else this child could be buried at, you know?
It's where what?
I think the police are trying to figure out where else the body was found.
The body was also at Jackie Thompson's backyard.
Who is Jackie
I don't
Thompson?
know if Jackie Thompson was a police officer in Odessa, Texas, but he got arrested 2 years back on dope charges. He was a police officer.
And he knew about Hailey?
Yeah, he knew about Hailey. Hailey was in his backyard.
Okay, so anyways, I shared that, and of course that's not even my conversation. I got that from Blog Talk Radio, and it was basically a Hailey Dunn blogger that had called this person and recorded that. And what I'm going to show you here, if I can find it, and I think maybe I'll just go back to where I was at. Is I got a comment from we're guessing it's the sister of this woman, okay? And here, let's see if I can find it right here, right there, okay. Here it is, Gina Harrison, okay? This come in yesterday, okay? And keep in mind, I'm just the messenger, right? This was posted on the internet, and all I did was share it, and so I didn't say anybody said anything. And here's what she says. Please stop your trash talking my brother. He's doing his time, and you're just spreading rumors. If for any reason Hailey was buried at his home, I promise he knew nothing of it. All you're doing is basing your so-called sources, mind you that there were dope screwed at the time. Post your jailhouse claims when you can back up your rants with tangible proof. All you're doing is starting shit based on allegations. So please go on with your hollow soul. Find a new hobby besides chasing down anyone and everyone so you can put your name out there. Obviously, you're not a Christian, sir. We're supposed to lift up those in their darkest hour, not kick them while they're down, and intentionally reposting the same unfounded bullshit. So if you feel relevant from now on, don't slander those based on jailhouse phone calls. It's called defamation and it's illegal. So she threatened me, right? So I'm and the only thing I've ever done is take screenshots and record phone calls and post phone calls, and I replied to her, The murder of this little girl was national news, and millions of people have discussed her case. Your hateful message to me made it clear that you could care less if her killers are ever brought to justice, and your only concern is attacking one of the millions of people that do care. My connection to this case is that I wrote the DOJ on March 14, 2013, suggested somebody look in the underground facility said by multiple people to be near my home, and 2 days later her remains were found in Scurry County. She had been missing for over 2 years, and poof, there she was. Now I've documented over a half dozen people saying that Hailey was overdosed and or buried in Odessa. This is a whole lot of different people saying the same thing. One of those people was the woman on this phone call who said that Hailey was buried in the backyard of this dirty cop. I happen to believe her since a half dozen other people have also said that Hailey was killed over in Odessa. It's not just one person. Don't think you're the first person who has tried to silence me with empty threats after I crawled out on my hands and knees to survive a capital murder attempt. Taking screenshots, recording phone calls, and sharing what other people post on the internet is not defamation, and it's not illegal. What is illegal is trying to silence somebody if you're trying to cover up the capital murder of a child. Furthermore, God saved my life, and I believe he's the one that he's exposing, not only those that tried to murder me, but those that murdered the young girl at the oil show party, those that murdered Mike Lawhon, the previous homeowner of this house, and those that murdered Hailey Dunn. It looks like there are more than that, too. Don't ever contact me again. And I put the comments and the screenshot came from the woman on the phone, and I happen to believe her, and that was Allison one day. And I'm going to show you this real quick. This Samantha says, aren't you the same person on the recorded phone call? And Allison says, yes, I am. And you know, and I tell her it's honorable for you to speak up, you know, because I mean, I've got death threats about talking to this, and I'm only the messenger, and we're talking about the murder of a child, you know. And here's Allison defending herself. She said, yeah, they just thought we were messed up on meth, which we were, but now that I've been sober for over 3 years, my story hasn't changed. What's their excuse now? Hailey could have been saved if the cops just listened. I don't care who sees this, because anyone that is okay with what happened to her is a punk and can rot in hell, okay? And you know, and she's upset. I mean, and I don't blame her, you know. And she says, they know who they are, and they're probably reading this right now, and I don't care who is reading it. I just want to ask them, how does it make you feel now? How do you grown men get off with a child? How do you feel knowing that if it got back the right people, that you wouldn't walk this earth? How do you feel knowing that you did that to a child of your own kid's age? Y'all all are sick, and I wish you well on your judgment day, because everyone that condones what happened to Hailey will need this mercy. You didn't give that girl. Hope you all burn in hell. I don't believe she will have justice here on earth, because too many people were involved, but you better believe that baby will have justice in heaven. And you know, I mean, I was thoroughly convinced that Allison cares about Hailey Dunn. I was thoroughly convinced Gina Harrison could care less about that little girl being murdered, okay? And so I just want to show you that was yesterday, okay? And so I want to show you a post that I did just a minute ago, okay? And this is the one I wanted to do. The drug rehab counselor said, okay, and this is how it all started. Basically, I was creating these videos called Midland, Texas, Tunnels and Crime, okay, and I'll even just read this opener for you. I talked about the secluded trucking lane behind my home, the suspicious trucker traffic, the little girl that I saw out there in the trucking lane next to a truck, and the 2 store employees that told me prostitution was going on back there behind my house. I suspected child sex trafficking and mentioned the still missing 13-year-old Hailey Dunn in this video. In this video called Midland, Texas, Tunnels of Crime Part 3. It was posted on my YouTube channel. And this is back, keep in mind, this is 2015, okay? And so tens of thousands of people saw these videos, and a woman named Kristi Otts leaves a comment on my YouTube channel. She said, and I literally, this is, you know, pretty much copy and pasted what she said. I received Hailey Dunn murder confession in June 2015. Since reporting it, my life has gone upside down. I went from a successful college graduate in psychology with a decent social life and wonderful children to someone who people think is crazy, no longer have any children, no job, and I'm losing everything down to my house and car. Okay, so Kristi wrote me on that video on YouTube. She then contacts me on Facebook using a different name, that she made up Allison Mack. She tells me a much more detailed story of what this guy named Brett Bushman told her. She said in part, the guy said she was traded by her mother for a drug balance of $135 worth of meth. When she was in the care of the dealer, she flipped out and they shot her up with something. She overdosed and died. The guy who confessed to me said she took her back to their mother and they stuffed her into a box. He described the way they had to bend her and break her to fit. Then they buried her on a ranch outside Odessa. Okay. Kristi also sent me some screenshots of emails between herself and her supervisor. It was a resignation letter, and it said in part, since he did have a hand stuffing a child's body inside a safe, he inflicted harm on a child and technically should be reported. In another part, she says, his confession of the involvement in 3 separate homicides, let that sink in, 3 separate homicides, one of which was being the son of our counselor. This makes me uncomfortable and a bit concerned for myself as well as my children concerning his organizational affiliation and access to make phone calls. She's talking about being a gang member, okay? I would later obtain, and I'm talking here, I would later obtain screenshots, recorded phone calls, and news articles that corroborated what she told me Brett had said. Several other people are documented saying that Hailey was killed and or buried over in Odessa and that it was connected with a drug deal with the mom as well as gang affiliation. I've noticed that some people, Gina Harrison, that have tried to discredit the more than half dozen witnesses by calling them drug users, but this is a drug rehab counselor that went to the police and the FBI reporting what she learned about the murder of Hailey Dunn. I'm totally convinced. It's still unknown if Brett Bushman is related to the super wealthy Bushman family in Odessa, Houston, CBS 7, MCM Elegante, A1 Mobile Homes, and other businesses. CBS 7 has ignored this evidence for some unexplained reasons because there's more than a half dozen people that are saying it. The video that's playing up there is Midland, Texas, Tunnels Crime Part 3. And then what I did was attach the screenshots. This was, when I said that Kristi said it wasn't Buddy said, she said, I've got the message right here, I've got the message where she said it was Brett Bushman. The guy said traded by her mother. Another woman told me, oh, it wasn't $135 worth of meth. That's wrong. It was $130. That was a whole different person. They corrected the amount. So all of a sudden, it ain't right because it wasn't 135, it was 130, there's multiple people. Sonia Renee County, News West 9 reports it. It's because of a drug deal, family drug deal is what she said. This is on the video, a screenshot. Midland, Texas, Tunnels and Crime. I received Hailey Dunn murder confession. That was the first one I got there, And this was the screenshot of the email to her boss on a resignation letter, Since he did have a hand stuffing a child's body inside of a safe, okay, and his confession of the involvement in 3 separate homicides. Can you imagine this? And nobody's arrested? And this is only one person, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.